Hey, you know Sonic, right? You know, that blue hedgehog that runs around really fast and saves woodland animals? He's got an orange fox friend with two tails and fights a mad scientist? Well, he's pretty cool. And considering the fact that I've talked about 3 Genesis Sonic games at this point, I think I know the series pretty well up until this point. However, there's one more game that I need to talk about. It's an amazing game with engaging gameplay, a compelling story, and a beautiful soundtrack. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everything else in between, I present to you Sonic's magnum opus, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles. In the early 90s, Sonic blew the f*** up. He had 2 best-selling games, spin-offs on the Genesis, 2 cartoon shows, 2 monthly comic books, and a balloon in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. You know you've made it in life when there's a balloon version of you. Needless to say, people were in love with Sonic the Hedgehog, so Sega needed to release a huge game to capitalize on that fact. The problem with that is that just like anything that blows up in popularity, the Sonic series was going to become a dying brand, so Sega had to hurry up with development. Sega had got to work on the next Sonic game, and it was gonna be huge. However, there was a bit of a roadblock. Would you believe me if I said that roadblock was a clown? McDonald's wanted a tie-in with the next Sonic game, where they would release toys for the game and Happy Meals. At this time, the whole game wasn't done yet, so what Sega ended up doing was releasing the parts of the game that were finished onto one cartridge, and then releasing the other part later that same year. These 2 games were Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Sonic and Knuckles. Now there was something special about the Sonic and Knuckles cartridge. It had something built into it that was really cool. It was something called lock-on technology. On top of the Sonic and Knuckles cart, there was a cartridge slot, meaning that you could plug Sonic 3 into Sonic and Knuckles and play the 2 full games as one fluid experience, which would be named Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Sonic 3 was released on February 2nd, 1994 in North America. This was actually Groundhog Day, so Sega decided to make an ad campaign where instead of February 2nd being Groundhog Day, it was Hedgehog Day. The game would then be released in other territories throughout February to June of 1994, and Sonic & Knuckles was re-released in October 1994, meaning then you could play the full game as one seamless experience. So, I've already talked about the game for 2 pages worth of text now, so the only thing left to do is play and review the damn thing. So, here we go. Sonic 3 has a cool title screen. It's no different than the past 3 games we talked about, so let's just hit start. Just like Sonic CD, we have save files, except they're much better here than how they were there. We can see what character we're playing as, how many emeralds we have, and the amount of lives and continues we have. There's also a no save mode if you hate happiness. Once we create a new file, we're greeted to an opening cutscene of Sonic and Tails flying on the tornado, when all of a sudden... What an ass, am I right? Knuckles the Echidna is the newest character to be introduced in Sonic 3. He's a red echidna who can climb, glide, and punch stuff. He lives here on this floating piece of land named Angel Island, and he's gonna kick Sonic's ass! The story of this game takes place right after the ending to Sonic 2, where the Death Egg crashes onto Angel Island. Once Eggman gets out, he tricks Knuckles into thinking that Sonic is a bad guy and that he has to be stopped before it's too late. So while Knuckles is doing that, Eggman can repair the Death Egg. Knuckles takes all the Chaos Emeralds and runs off, and it's up to you to stop him and Eggman. We start off in Angel Island Zone, which is a lush green forest. Just like Sonic 2 and CD, all of Sonic's moves carry over from the previous games, minus the Super Peel Out. We get one new move this time, the Insta-Shield, which you can use by pressing the jump button again once you're in the air, It extends your hitbox, making it easier to destroy badniks in item boxes. So, despite the name claiming it's a shield, it's far more useful in an attack scenario. Speaking of shields, we get 3 new ones. The elemental shields, which are shields made up of water, fire, and electricity. These all reflect projectiles, as well as making you invulnerable to hazards made up of the respective elements. For example, you can breathe underwater with the water shield and survive fire-based hazards with the fire shield. And if you're playing as Sonic, you can get an extra jump, which is really nice. Yeah, that's right. Just like Sonic 2, we have multiple playable characters. Sonic and Tails, Sonic alone, Tails alone, and even Knuckles, who has his own extra content. He has unique paths and stages, unique bosses, and even a bit of a different story. We haven't even started talking about the stages yet, and already there's so much more content compared to the other Genesis games. So let's get moving. We start running and hey, look at these boulders! Huh. Yes, these special stages are now hidden throughout the levels. Instead of needing to carry a certain amount of rings to the end of a level, or past a checkpoint, you can just find the special stages. This means that the game is rewarding you for exploration and taking different paths and trying different things throughout the levels. Remember what I said about Sonic 1 where you could find hidden goodies throughout Green Hill Zone that reward exploration? Well, this is the same thing, except now you're rewarded with the good ending to the game and Super Sonic. It's a very good setup. Well, what about the special stages themselves? They're really good. What you have to do is collect all the blue spheres in a level while avoiding the red spheres, which will teleport you out of the stage. Once you collect all the blue spheres, you can get one of 7 Chaos Emeralds. In addition to the special stages, there's also the bonus stages, which can reward you with shields, extra lives, and rings. The first one is a gumball machine thing, where you bounce off the sides and turn this knob, which can give you stuff. The second one is this one where you circle around these orbs and move all the way to the top where you can collect shields and rings. And the last one is... oh, wow, okay. The Sonic 1 special stages combined with the gambling machines from Sonic 2. 2 luck-based elements in the classic games that together make a pretty fun bonus stage. Alright, enough around. I just got through Angel Island Act 1 and... there's a boss? Yeah, so now at the end of each act throughout the game, there's a boss fight. A mini-boss for Act 1, and an actual boss for Act 2, where you fight Eggman. This is a really cool setup. While there's nothing wrong with the signposts at the ends of Act 1 for Sonic 1, 2, and CD, I think having a boss really keeps you on your toes and is constantly checking your skills to make sure you're understanding the mechanics of the game. The fights themselves are really great as well. And Act 2 can sometimes be different to Act 1, with different themes and everything. Let's take Angel Island Zone for example. Act 1 is relatively peaceful, a dense forest with not too much going on. But after Act 1, Eggman starts dropping bombs everywhere, lighting the place on fire, killing all the life. They even changed the music for second acts. Like, here's Angel Island Zone Act 1. Now here's Angel Island Act 2. See? They really went all out for this. So now that we've beaten Angel Island Zone, Knuckles shows up again and drops us into Hydro City Zone, which is the designated water level, except unlike a lot of water levels, this one's actually good. I actually stand by the opinion that a lot of water levels aren't that bad. Sure, a lot of junk from the NES days are garbage, but there's also some good water levels in there, and Hydro City is a good example of that. You do have to touch the water sometimes, but you can go really fast inside of it, and when you get out, the level's at its best, and the branching paths and secrets throughout the levels are so rewarding. After we beat Act 2, we get launched up into Marble Garden Zone. Now, on your first playthrough of this zone, I can definitely see how this zone can be frustrating, as there is some bullshit enemy and hazard placement, but I think that the pros outweigh the cons here. This level is a lot of fun, with the pulleys and the spin dash wheels and the rotating top spinning thingies. It can be pretty fun. By Act 2, Eggman starts tearing up the land. which shows that he doesn't even care about the island as long as he can rebuild the Death Egg. Eventually, we have to take to the air to fight him. Once we defeat him, we fly over to Carnival Night Zone, and this is Casino Night Zone cranked up to 1,000,000. There's so many things to bounce off and run on and grab onto and jump on. This almost feels like a debug test area, but in all the right ways. And Act 2 submerges you in water, which can lead to some fun with the balloons giving you air. After Carnival Night, we jump into a cannon and shoot off into Ice Cap Zone. Ice Cap Zone starts off really cool. You're snowboarding down this snowy mountain and collecting rings. The only problem with this part is that you can't really do anything while playing or you're gonna miss a large amount of goodies. After that, Ice Cap Zone is cool. It's not the best, there's a little too much vertical platforming for my liking, but it's still pretty fun. Act 2 is better, as instead of being inside an icy cavern, you're now scaling the mountain. Once we're done there, we roll into a bunch of snow and pop out into Launch Base Zone? That was a weird transition. Launch Base Zone is really fun. There's a lot of neat set pieces to play around with. There's a lot of bad enemy and hazard placement here, just like Marble Garden, and for that reason, the zone isn't as good as it can be. Actually, if you're playing Sonic 3 standalone, you get a slightly harder version of this zone. It's little things like item boxes and enemy placement, but Sonic 3 standalone is harder for whatever reason. I have no idea why the zone layout was changed, but here we are. I really like the background of Launch Base. The Death Egg in the water getting ready to take off is a really nice touch. And just like Carnival Night, Act 2 incorporates underwater segments, and I think it works better here than it does in Carnival Night. So we beat the boss and we're halfway through the game. Now, if you're playing Sonic 3 standalone, you have to face the final boss, Big Arms. It's a fun fight, but I don't think it's tough enough to be the final boss. It's just a little underwhelming is all. What really sucks is that this boss doesn't show up in the combined adventure. Well, actually that's a lie, it shows up in the Knuckles story, but I still think it's disappointing that you can't fight him with Sonic or Tails without using level select. So after all of that, the Death Egg crashes, again, and we land in Mushroom Hill Zone, kicking off the second half of the game, or Sonic and Knuckles if you're playing the two separately. After running around in Mushroom Hill for a little bit, crap! It's Knuckles! Get ready, he's gonna drop a building on us or something. Wait, what's he hiding? A Rainbow Special Stage? Well, don't mind if I do. Did I miss a page in the manual? So this is a room with one big emerald and 7 pillars. Then suddenly, the Chaos Emeralds fly into the pillars and spawn these bigger emeralds. What the hell is going on here? So, it's time to do some explaining. This giant-ass emerald is called the Master Emerald. It's what's keeping Angel Island afloat. Unfortunately, with the Death Egg laying its entire ass on this island, it's starting to sink into the ocean, so this emerald is playing a really big part right now in keeping the island safe. These other emeralds are the Super Emeralds, and now that the Chaos Emeralds have transformed into them, we gotta collect them all over again. Right here in Mushroom Hill Zone. That's right, we can find 7 more big rings in the 7th zone of the game. It's the same special stages as before, so if you've mastered those, you'll be good here. Now, the reason they're making you collect all the emeralds is because they couldn't have you blasting through the second half of the game with Supersonic. It just wouldn't be fair. Keep in mind, this is only in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, not Sonic and Knuckles solo. Collecting all the emeralds is super rewarding, however, as once you get all of them, you unlock Hypersonic. Yeah, Supersonic is fun. He's invincible, really fast, and can destroy anything in his path, but Hypersonic is the super form, but if the super form got buffed to shit. He has all the perks of Supersonic, plus a double jump that also acts as an attack, which wipes the screen clear of all enemies. But he can also breathe underwater, so he's without a doubt the better transformation. The only problem with this transformation is once you pass 50 rings, you can't use your Insta-Shield because it will activate your Hyper Form, but I think the pros outweigh the cons with the Hyper Form. Well, let's go ahead and try out Hypersonic. Oh my god. Mushroom Hill is fine enough. It's pretty big and widespread, as well as having a lot of fun set pieces. Act 2 has a more autumn color palette, which I think looks better. After that, we hop onto an aircraft that's flying by and enter Flying Battery Zone, and... There are some good parts to this zone, but it's all around very slow. You gotta wait for stuff and inch forward at a snail's pace. This has been the worst zone so far, but it's still way better than the stuff that Sonic 1 and CD had to offer. We then jump off the ship and land in Sandopolis Zone. Thematically, this zone's boring, but there's some fun stuff in here. Act 2 is much better than Act 1, as it takes place within a temple with a time gimmick, being that you have to find these switches and turn the lights on to keep these ghosts from attacking you. You also have to push these switches and race to escape before a door shuts or you get crushed by sand slowly moving upwards. I think these gimmicks make it better than Flying Battery just because it takes advantage of Sonic's speed and forces you to keep moving. We then fall into a pit that transports us to Lava Reef Zone. Lava Reef Zone is fun. It hits a really good balance between platforming and speedy sections. Act 2 is pretty and transforms the color palettes from reds, oranges, and browns to turquoises and blues. I also really like the Death Egg looming in the background as you slowly move closer to it. The boss here for Act 2 is super fun as well. So after that, we run to the Hidden Palace Zone. Not to be confused with the Cut Sonic 2 level, this is a one-act zone dedicated to a single boss fight. We finally get to fight Knuckles! And it's piss easy! This is really underwhelming. I mean, this guy's been screwing us over for this entire adventure, and you're telling me this is his best? I don't know. Thematically, it's very cool, as you can finally face off against Knuckles, who's been trapping you and hurting you this entire time, always laughing while doing so. So, we defeat Knuckles, but then something bad happens. That son of a bitch took the big rock! Yes, so Dr. Eggman steals the Master Emerald, and considering the fact that that's the only thing keeping the island afloat, and that Eggman's most likely gonna repair the Death Egg, I think it's safe to say this island's gonna be donezo. Knuckles gets literally electrocuted, and then Eggman scurries off. Now, finally piecing everything together, Knuckles joins forces with Sonic. He hits a switch, and we're teleported up to Sky's Sanctuary Zone. The Death Egg's taking off and we're in hot pursuit. Knuckles is over here hitting buttons, flipping switches, and building bridges for us so we can stop Eggman. We have to catch up to the Death Egg in one of the best zones of the game. You get a lot of paths to take to get to the end of this act. It's pretty hard to die here as well. All of the cute big-eyed enemies have been replaced with Egg Robo, the same robot from the Knuckles route that replaces Eggman in the boss fights, except now there's more of them. And the music, man, it's really building up to you having to save this island. The boss for this zone is honestly the coolest one so far. It's a new version of Metal Sonic. First, he recreates the Green Hill Zone boss from Sonic 1, which is a cute callback. Then he recreates the Metropolis Zone boss from Sonic 2, and now we fight him face to face. This is a pretty good fight, although when you face off against him in the Knuckles story, it's way better as he has a cool phase 2 where he undergoes a super transformation. It's more challenging and rewarding. It's also the final boss for the Knuckles route, so after Sky Sanctuary, you're done. However, Sonic and Tails still have one more place to blast through. The Death Egg Zone. Finally, the one-act final boss area from Sonic 2 can be fully realized. It utilizes electricity set pieces, which can demonstrate the electric shield. There's also these missile things that launch, this treadmill that can knock you into spikes, as well as these tubes that can transport you to another part of the level. I've seen people complain about these tubes online, saying that going in loops can be a problem, and I have to agree. If you're about to die from time over or lose all your rings as Hypersonic, these can be a pain. The rest of Death Egg is cool though. Act 2 has a gravity mechanic which really keeps you on your toes. At this point in the game, you should be competent with all the physics and how Sonic controls, so I think the devs switching things up like this is completely fine, and there's plenty of speedy sections here as well too. Here we go, we caught up to the fat scientist himself. It's time for the final boss. Eggman's built a new and improved Death Egg robot, and we gotta destroy it for the sake of Angel Island and Knuckles. We start off by destroying all the robot's fingers, which can be pretty easy. Then the robot starts chasing us, destroying the bridge we're standing on, so we have to get close to him to hit the center. And it turns out Eggman's using the Master Emerald to power this robot, so we'll have to take that back safely to Knuckles. After that, we have to chase down Eggman carrying the Emerald. Everything is falling apart around us. The very place we are fighting on is being destroyed, and yet only one thing is a priority. Save Angel Island Zone. This fight all around was definitely worthy of being a final boss. It's challenging, but not unfair. It evolves, but it's not confusing on what you have to do. It's intense, but it won't send anyone who plays it into a heart attack. It was better than the Big Arms boss fight, that's for sure. Actually, speaking of Big Arms, they just recycled that song for this fight. I mean, I'm not complaining, it's a good song, but it would have been nice to have an original piece. So, we beat Eggman and the game's done. If you didn't get all the Super Emeralds. That's right, if you managed to get all the Super Emeralds in the back half of the game, there's still one more boss left for you. Doomsday Zone. It's all in the name. If you fail, Eggman's gonna bring a doomsday upon Angel Island. This is a fight between life and death. An entire ecosystem and home is relying on us, so we have to make things right and defeat this madman once and for all. This is an amazing fight. It's legitimately hard. The thing is, both Supersonic and Hypersonic lose their rings over time, and once you run out of rings, you revert back to regular old Sonic. And here, you can only play as Hypersonic, so once you run out of rings, you die. So not only do you have to manage your ring count, but you also have to dodge these asteroids, which will slow you down. And you obviously have to hit the boss. There's two phases to this fight. Phase 1 is this spaceship thing that shoots out missiles, which you have to guide back to the ship. Should they hit you, however, they stun you, causing you to miss rings you would have collected, thus raising your chance of death. Phase 2 is a mad dash towards the same robot we just fought back on the Death Egg. All you need to do is catch up to him and run into him. Though again, the asteroids can get in your way. This is the best boss fight in the game. Sure, it's hard, but at this point in the game, you should be able to handle it, especially if you went out of your way to grab both sets of emeralds. It could be a little more forgiving, I'll admit that, but I think it's fine. This boss fight hits that perfect balance of great game design and gives you an amazing climax to the story. Best boss in the game, hands down. So you beat the boss and the game's done. You grab the Master Emerald and return it to Knuckles, which causes Angel Island to rise back up into the sky where it once belonged. Sonic and Tails then fly away to go get a hamburger. That sure was an adventure, wasn't it? I genuinely don't know how to describe why this game is so good. The level design is so good, the sprite work is so pretty, the music is wonderful, the ability to tell this incredible story without saying a single word is impressive, and the story itself is very exciting. And above all else, the gameplay is phenomenal. This game all around is just incredible. Yes, I have my problems with the game, but every game has at least one problem. That's an inevitability. Yet the good parts of this game fly so much higher than the lows sink. The Sonic series has gotten a lot of crap for the past 30 years. Some of it's deserved, but a lot of it's undeserved. I'll admit it, it's been through some bad times, and we're going through a bit of a rough patch right now, but there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. This is the game that reminds me why Sonic is important. This is the game that tells me why Sonic is a gaming icon. This is the game that shows me why I love this franchise so much. Just like any Sonic game, the music is phenomenal. It was actually composed by none other than Michael Jackson. That's right, the King of Pop made the soundtrack for a Genesis game, a system that sounds like hot garbage. And yet, somehow, He created one of gaming's greatest soundtracks. If you're wondering why they never marketed the game with MJ's name on it, well, the first reason is that he didn't like the way the song sounded on the Genesis, and the second reason is that he allegedly did some, bad, illegal stuff that I can't get into, so that's why Michael Jackson wasn't everywhere on the box. Unfortunately, this fact had put Sonic 3 into some legal trouble, as the game couldn't be re-released for a little bit of time due to all the licensing issues. That was until a little under a month ago, when a new Sonic collection was announced, Sonic Origins, which is a collection of Sonic 1, 2, CD, 3, and Knuckles. Not only is it the first time Sonic 3 and Knuckles is being re-released in over 10 years, but it's gonna be the first time it's officially re-released in widescreen 60 frames per second. That's right, it's the definitive mobile versions of these games, meaning you can play the definitive Sonic games the definitive ways. And hey, if you really can't wait for that collection to come out, you can always download Sonic 3 Air. It's a mod for the Steam version of the game, which adds widescreen and cool extra content. Stuff like the drop dash from Sonic Mania, Tails Assist, and other stuff like that. It's a very cool version, go check it out. Overall, I really do love this game, and I think it's one of the greatest games of all time. Sonic 3 and Knuckles is the definitive Sonic experience. It is pure greatness. So that was Sonic 3 and Knuckles, a phenomenal game. Now, you may have noticed that Sonic's sprite changed drastically from Sonic 1 and 2. I personally like it more, but I can see how other people don't like it. When I first noticed the difference, only one thought was going through my brain. Why does he look like that?